and in exchange, 8 other charges were dropped. Under the agreement, he avoided jail time, but he had to complete anger management, safety courses, counseling, and community service.
Damn, 10-year firearm ban? 80 hours of community service. That ain't bad. Behavior therapy, anger management, and gun safety classes. Bro, they truly working with this nigga. Hey, let a random nigga shoot at somebody's car.
The charge could even be
jail.
reduced to a misdemeanor.
So, what it do you two, man? I'm not want to waste time, so I'm going to get straight into it. You feel me? Now, today about to be reacting to the basketball prodigy who physically couldn't live up to the hype. Mikey Williams. Now, honestly, I feel like Mikey Williams, his whole future just went down the drain when he started shooting at niggas. He had no reason to do that, but let's see what they talking about, bro.
Remember when Mikey Williams felt like the future of basketball? Yeah. When he was just a kid, his highlights were unavoidable. He was throwing down windmill dunks in packed gyms, nailing deep pull-up threes, and hitting celebrations that made every play feel like a mixtape moment. For a while, Mikey wasn't just a basketball player. He was seen as the future of basketball. He was supposed to be the chosen one, the next phenom to turn internet fame into NBA superstardom. And at one point, Mikey was the most followed high school athlete in the country, with millions of people watching his every move.
Hey,
he wasn't just a prospect.
Like, bro, you can't deny. One thing you can't deny about this nigga, he was fucking nice. He was definitely fucking nice. I feel like he was projected to go to the draft, but it's like life happened. Nigga got in a little shootout, a little altercation, and all this extra shit. Flush his career down the drain. Damn, bro.
He was a
Look how nice
moment,
this nigga is.
And that's what made the hype so heavy. Because unlike other viral stars, Mikey had the physical tools to back it up. At 6'2" with a strong frame, elite bounce, and a quick first step, he had the look of a future NBA guard. He could shoot, he could slash, he could dunk on anyone. And for a while, it looked like he was on a straight line path to the league. But the thing about hype is that eventually, it has to meet production. And that's where Mikey's story started to change. Because while the mixtapes made him look like a generational talent, the reality was that Mikey Williams struggled to keep growing once the competition caught up.
Oh, damn. Okay, I understand. I understand now.
The same player he'd been at 15, while other guards kept getting sharper, smarter, and more consistent. The truth is, Mikey had everything a young star could ask for. The athleticism, the platform, the exposure, the sponsorships. And yet, when it was time to take the next step, he couldn't quite get there. This is the story of the basketball prodigy who physically had all the tools but couldn't live up to the hype. So let's rewind, back to the very beginning, when Mikey wasn't just a...
He dropped 70. Don't make it seem like he couldn't live up. Alright, but that was in like middle school. Yeah, okay.
In the making, he was the kid everyone thought was next. Mikey didn't just appear out of nowhere, he was built for this moment. Before he was dunking on kids and filling up overtime highlight reels, Mikey was just another talented California guard, but one with a natural gift for showmanship. He was fast, explosive, and confident in a way that made you stop and watch. He was first discovered as a teammate of Bronny on the infamous youth AAU squad.
Merchie played with Bronny now. See, I wasn't paying attention like that to know, but hey, that's crazy. Who y'all got in the 1v1? Bronny or Mikey? I'm going Mikey. I ain't gonna lie, I'm going Mikey. Yeah, Mikey be fucking hooping. I'm going Mikey.
The North Coast Blue Chips,
coached
by LeBron himself, this youth AAU team featured Bronny, Jazeer Jackson, who was bigger than LeBron at 14, and of course, Mikey Williams. The Blue Chips became the hottest ticket in youth basketball, and while most people came to see Bronny and Big Ja, it was Mikey who looked like the best player on the team. That's where the legend of Mikey Williams began. Even at 12 and 13 years old, Mikey had bounce that made crowds gasp. He was dunking in middle school games, hitting NBA range threes, and playing with a chip on his shoulder that made every highlight clip feel personal. In the era of Instagram and YouTube, he was the perfect storm. Ball is Life, Slam, and Overtime started posting his clips. YouTube mixes of Mikey torching kids twice his size were racking up millions of views. By the time he was in 8th grade, Mikey wasn't just known in AAU circles. He was becoming a household name for hoop fans everywhere. Then came high school.
Then you got coached by Brown. Where did this nigga go wrong? Other than, you know what I'm saying? Other than a little shooting shit. Where did he go wrong?
Explosion really happened. Mikey stayed home in San Diego.
He had everything he needed to go pro. The athleticism, the charisma, the skill, the coach, the guidance. What the fuck went wrong?
Cedro High School. In his very first varsity season as a freshman, he averaged over 29 points per game. And in just his 4th high school game ever, he scored an absurd 77 points. He rained threes, dunked on fast breaks, and put on one of the most dominant scoring performances in California history. The clip went viral overnight, and from that moment on, Mikey Williams wasn't just a prospect, he was a phenomenon. San Ysidro games started selling out. Fans lined up before tip-off. Cameras were everywhere. Overtime, Slam, and Ball is Life were sending full crews to every game. Mikey had become a one-man traveling show, and he leaned into it. He celebrated every big shot, threw down every dunk with flair, and made sure every performance felt like an event. He wasn't just playing basketball, he was performing. By the end of his freshman year, Mikey had built something no high schooler ever had before, a full-blown brand. And then came the move that made history. At just 17 years old, Mikey Williams became the first American high school basketball player to sign a shoe deal with a global footwear brand, inking a multi-year contract with Puma.
He got sponsored by MCM and Puma. Boy.
This wasn't just hype. This was groundbreaking. It put him in the same conversation as NBA stars with signature shoe deals before he ever played a minute of college basketball.
There's a lot of motherfuckers in the NBA that don't even got a shoe deal. So for the fact that he got a shoe deal in high school is crazy. It's crazy. No bullshit.
He was a pioneer, blazing a trail for the NIL era that was just beginning to take shape. By this point, Mikey had more than 3.5 million Instagram followers, more than many NBA starters. He was bigger than just a recruit. He was a celebrity, a trendsetter, the face of the high school basketball internet era. At his peak, Mikey Williams felt inevitable. It wasn't a question of if he'd make the NBA, it was how big a star he'd be when he got there. But as we've seen before, hype is a double-edged sword. Because the bigger the rise, the bigger the crash when things start to go wrong. And soon, cracks would start to appear, both on the court and off. At his peak, Mikey Williams felt untouchable. He had millions of followers, a historic Puma deal, and a reputation as the future face of basketball. But if there's one thing we've learned about hype, it's that it has an expiration date. And soon, people started asking questions. After his electric freshman season at San Ysidro, Mikey transferred to Lake Norman Christian in North Carolina. At first, it seemed like the perfect move, a chance to play on a national stage against elite competition. He still put up numbers, still had highlight plays, still looked like one of the most talented guards in the country. But scouts were watching more closely now, and cracks started to appear. Mikey could always score, but how efficient was he? Could he run a half-court offense? Could he defend consistently and elevate teammates when the lights were brightest? Then came another move, this time to Vertical Academy, a program essentially built to showcase Mikey. It was the perfect place for him to control the narrative, but the competition wasn't consistent. Some nights he'd put up 30 or 40 points and look unstoppable. Other nights against nationally ranked teams, he struggled to impose his will. The same flashy style that made him an internet star started to raise eyebrows for talent evaluators. Was Mikey becoming more of a showman than a winning player? Every matchup against other top recruits became a measuring stick. When he faced Bronny James, Dior Johnson, or DJ Wagner, the gyms were packed and the cameras were rolling. And Mikey had moments, no question. He'd throw down a dunk that blew up on Instagram, hit a clutch three, or stare down a defender with the swagger that made him famous. But there were also games where he disappeared for stretches.
So let me ask y'all this. Do y'all think that Mikey gonna go to the draft or could get drafted possibly within the next couple of years. Because if you don't get drafted in the next couple of years, then it's pretty much over with. Because, like you said, like they saying, he can score his highlight tape. His highlight tape look nice, but his efficiency is where he lack. He can't keep that up. He can't keep doing that. You know.
For contested pull-ups or got caught on defense. For the first time, there was a debate about whether Mikey was just a great high school player or someone who could actually translate to the next level. But even with some lingering doubt, the hype train kept rolling. Mikey committed to Memphis in late 2022, and it felt like a turning point. This was the moment he could silence doubters. Penny Hardaway, a former NBA All-Star guard himself, was the perfect coach to mold Mikey into a
nigga had Bron as a coach and Penny Hardaway. How could he possibly fail? Ain't no way.
college-ready floor general. The announcement made headlines everywhere. The idea of Mikey Williams running the backcourt for Memphis felt like a natural next step, a chance to prove that he wasn't just a social media creation. But then everything changed. In April 2023, Mikey Williams' story took a turn that no one saw coming.
See, this is where I thought he threw his life away at. Let me know if it kept going downhill after this. I just stopped keeping tabs on the nigga, but let's see.
Police arrested him on 5 felony charges after a shooting outside his home in California. The details were shocking. A car full of 6 people, which included 3 minors, were leaving his property after an argument when Mikey fired multiple shots at the vehicle. No one was injured, but bullet holes were found in the car. Almost overnight, Mikey's entire world flipped. This wasn't just about basketball anymore. It was about whether he'd even have a future in the sport at all. Memphis, the school he was set to star for, quickly announced he wouldn't join the team until his legal situation was resolved. His name vanished from highlights. His sponsors went quiet. Puma, the brand that had once signed him to a groundbreaking deal as a high schooler, backed away. The hype machine froze. And as the case unfolded, things looked grim. Prosecutors eventually hit Mikey with 9 felony counts. Everything from assault with a deadly weapon to firing into an occupied vehicle to making criminal threats. Witnesses said they saw him with a weapon threatening passengers in the car. But the evidence wasn't airtight. Nobody could definitively say they saw him pull the trigger. The case dragged on for months, delaying his basketball comeback even further. Finally, late in 2023, Mikey reached a plea deal. He pled guilty to a single felony count of making a criminal threat, and in exchange, 8 other charges were dropped. Under the agreement, he avoided jail time, but he had to complete anger management, safety courses, counseling, and community service.
Damn, 10-year firearm ban? 80 hours of community service, that ain't bad. Behavior therapy. Anger management and gun safety classes. Bro, they truly working with this nigga. Hey, let a random nigga shoot at somebody's car.
The charge could even be reduced to a misdemeanor down the road. Legally, Mikey got a second chance, but the damage was already done. He lost a full year of basketball, a year when other top recruits were turning themselves into lottery picks, all while Mikey was on the sidelines fighting for his freedom instead of refining his game. And that lost year might be the single most important chapter in his story, the moment where the gap between Mikey Williams the brand and Mikey Williams the basketball player truly started to widen. By the time he re-enrolled at Memphis in early 2024, Penny Hardaway made it clear that Mikey wouldn't play that season, not because he wasn't talented, but because he wasn't ready. Eventually, Mikey entered the transfer portal without ever playing a single minute at Memphis. He was searching for a fresh start, but the landscape had changed. He was no longer a guaranteed draw. He was no longer the face of high school basketball.
Now he gotta work for it. Damn.
It was a question mark.
Made his life way harder.
That's when the narrative around Mikey truly shifted. He went from the next big thing to a cautionary tale in real time. From the kid who was supposed to be first in line for NBA stardom to the player who was fighting just to prove he belonged on a college roster. This was the moment when the hype stopped being fun. This was when the weight of it all, the followers, the mixtapes, the Puma deal, the expectations, came crashing down. And it was the moment we realized that Mikey Williams, the internet's favorite prodigy, wasn't just facing opponents anymore. He was facing time, pressure, and the consequences of choices that had nothing to do with basketball. He would finally suit up for the University of Central Florida in the 2024-25 season. It felt like a fresh start, but it never really clicked. Mikey played just 18 games, only starting in 5 of them, and averaged just 5.1 points per game in just 14 minutes.
Fuck. Damn, cuz this nigga fell off crazy. Did the competition get better or did he get worse? Damn.
Flashes, a couple of 14-point nights, a few games where he rebounded well for a guard, but the efficiency issues followed him to college. He shot 37% from the field and 28% from 3.
Nigga, what? Oh, hell
Just
no.
as he was starting to settle in, injuries took him out again. The rhythm never came. The leap scouts were hoping for never showed up. By the time the season ended, Mikey looked less like a future NBA star and more like a player searching for a home. And that's exactly what he did, transferring to Sacramento State for the 2025-26 season, where he's now trying to reinvent himself. And honestly, that might be the best thing for him. At a smaller program, with the new coach in Mike Bibby and Shaq as the GM, he has a chance to slow down, get consistent minutes, and focus on actually building.
That nigga went from a Puma shoe deal, now he about to get a Shaq shoe deal. Yes sir, yes sir. Clap it up, sir. Clap it up. But no, on a serious note, hey, at least he got some good names behind him.
His game instead of chasing highlight plays. It's the kind of situation where he could quietly put the pieces together, work on his efficiency, learn to defend, and maybe, just maybe, remind everyone why he was so hyped in the first place. But this is also the crossroads, because if Mikey can't make it work here, if he can't turn himself into a consistent, efficient guard in a smaller conference with a coach who believes in him, the NBA dream might officially slip away. This is the part of his story where potential has to finally meet production, where highlight dunks have to give way to winning basketball, where the player everyone once thought he was has to actually show up. Because Mikey wasn't like Julian Newman. He wasn't physically outmatched. If anything, he was physically gifted. He had the tools to succeed, but the refinement never caught up. The polish never came, and when the spotlight shifted, he didn't have the substance to keep himself in the conversation. That's why Mikey's story feels so different, and in a way, so much sadder. Because there was a world where Mikey Williams could have been everything we thought he'd be. The NBA-ready guard with star power, charisma, and a built for the modern era. But he never became that player. Now he's fighting for one last chance to write a different ending. Not under the bright lights of the Big 12, not with ESPN cameras following him, but in a quieter college gym in Sacramento. If he's ever going to change the narrative, it has to happen now. So here's the question that everyone keeps asking. Was Mikey Williams ever really as good as we thought? Or did we just fall in love with the highlight version of him? The answer, like most things in basketball, is complicated. Because Mikey was that good, at least for a time. He was electrifying. He was the first player of the social media generation to turn high school basketball into a full-blown entertainment product. He was selling out gyms, signing autographs, and making sneaker deals before he could vote. For a few years, he was bigger than the game itself. But hype isn't the same as development. And while Mikey was building a brand, his game wasn't building the way it needed to. He stayed the same player for too long, a dangerous thing in basketball where everyone else keeps getting better. He could still dunk on you, still pull up from deep, still hit you with a step back that looks good on Instagram, but the consistency, the decision making, the efficiency, they didn't grow with the spotlight. And then the off-court issues hit, stealing a year from him at the exact moment.
Honestly, if that didn't happen, I feel like he would have got drafted with Bronny. You know what I'm saying? Probably not as low, but he definitely got drafted a little bit before Bronny. Honestly.
To mature the most. By the time he got back, the gap between who Mikey was and who we thought he'd be had never been bigger. That's what makes Mikey's story so fascinating, and honestly, a little heartbreaking. Because unlike other viral stars, Mikey had the tools. Physically, he should have been the one to make it, but sometimes talent isn't enough.
Literally,
sometimes
bro.
The game asks you to
evolve.
You know how many
motherfuckers are killed to get coached by LeBron, cuz. That's crazy, bro.
The game moves on without you. Mikey Williams will always be remembered as a pioneer, the first American high school player to sign a global shoe deal, the kid who made high school basketball feel like a rock concert, the one who proved that social media could create a superstar before the NBA ever could. But whether he'll be remembered as the one who made it or the one who almost did is still up to him. So what do you think? Can Mikey Williams still rewrite his story, or has his chance to live up to the hype already passed him by? Let us know in the comments. And if you liked this video, don't forget to leave a like and comment, and subscribe to the channel for more basketball deep.
Man, hey man, let me know what y'all think down in the comments below. I said it once, I'm gonna say it again. He definitely would have been bigger than Bronny if he would have stayed out that street shit. But hey, I'm gonna catch you niggas in the next one. Yes sir.